Sam, you're live to the whole world.
I don't know how you got me here, Derek.
All right, guys. So this is Sam. He's not a real estate agent, but Sam does do solar. PV. What? When we say solar, solar is really the hot water heater, not the PV, right? But is that a misnomer when we say solar?
Kind of depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
You know, you catch your old Japanese uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, PV.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're here for the PV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just say solar, right?
Yeah. In Hawaii, it's just solar.
Okay.
But
is it different on the mainland?
Actually, no. Let me take that back. Here,
we're more often say PV.
Here is more PV.
Yeah.
And in the mainland, it's just solar.
Just say solar, right?
Just solar.
Well, in any case, so I, maybe the team, maybe Kinji and Mahe and everyone to an extent, certainly I am dabbling now in solar, and we'll get to that. But this is just a regular Core Team Hawaii Live. We're going to go over your questions. So I got questions from Jacqueline, Sadat, Jim, and we have some reviews. You have the reviews? So I'm just going to dive right into this stuff. Give me a couple of minutes. If you want to know about solar in Hawaii, PV in Hawaii, one, leave your questions here. We'll answer them in the future. Also, go to coreteamhawaii.com. You already know, for your real estate needs, to get your listings. Like the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had our listings on this channel. If you need to sell your home, we can get you more exposure than anyone. And you already know from watching this that we are extremely nuanced and skilled. Shout outs to Gerald, who we just went to a listing appointment at his home last night. You know Gerald, just by happenstance. Yeah. He knocked on his door to sell solar, potentially help him with solar. But he goes, wait, sorry to interrupt you. What is your angle on this? Because we were showing him, here's all the ways you could keep your house. You win monopoly by collecting properties, not by having none. And we were going over all these creative angles. Well, maybe you do this, maybe you do this, or we could do this, we could do this. And he was really like kind of spaced out. And he goes, what's the angle here? Well, like, how do you guys make money? And I was like, we don't. We don't make money. And he was just kind of dumbfounded. Like, you don't make money? Like, you're going to, because there's not a great option. Dave Ramsey would hate it, but you could like convert, if you wanted to do like an interest-only loan, it could help you carry a home for a little longer. You could, if you want to rent for a loss, let's look at the appreciation projections. A home might go down, but it might go up. There's all these considerations before you just sell your home in Hawaii. Because what I know is if you own a home in Hawaii and you own it 20 years from now, you're going to be stoked that you kept it. You're going to be rich and stoked, right? And so I was like, let's just talk about keeping this home instead of pivoting. And of course, we can have the conversation about selling. So we're super low pressure. Sam is also low pressure and focused on help and service, which is why I've decided to make him, we've decided to partner together in the PV and solar world. But back to my point, hit us up for anything you need, real estate, buying, selling in Hawaii, PV panels, etc. You can go to coreteamhawaii.com. You have questions about PV, we'll have a discussion, teach you how to get the very best price you're going to find. That's important to me. I'm introducing you to my loan officer, to my handyman, of course, we don't want poor quality, but minimum standard of quality, most competitive price. I'm going to do that for myself, so I'm going to do that for you. And I've already done it on the PV side. Let's dive into one question, and then we'll get to our agent reviews. So Jacqueline Foster says, what short-term rental areas are still available on Oahu? So it's really the places that are zoned resort. Short term, when you're talking short term, like you can rent your place for a day or 2 days. The real estate zoning for this piece of land on the island, if it's such that Hilton could build a hotel there, then it's zoned resort, which means you can rent it for a night at a time. There's also residential/resort zoning, residential resort, and that's like Ko'olina, where I own a townhome. You can do 30 days in there. Now the HOA could vote unanimously and say, we're going to make the minimum 3 months or 6 months, but we can do 30 days. So when you're talking short term, I think you're talking about one night at a time. And really it's Waikiki. Not all of Waikiki. There's like a heat map section, certain zoning. But parts of Waikiki, A building on the northeast side, Turtle Bay. And technically there's a building in Ko'olina, but the association makes it a 7-day minimum. So those are the areas. We're not the best place. We're not the best place to own short-term rentals and make money. Our places where you can do short-term rentals tend to be old. The associations are expensive. Now there are insurance issues. If you just in anywhere America and you want to buy a short-term rental, if it has to be Hawaii, I'm probably doing a different island. I might do Kona or something. But I would probably go to Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'd probably go to Orlando. I might do, I don't know the regulations, but I might do Scottsdale, Arizona, something like that. There's other places to do better. Let's do one more question. Sadat Abasi says, I want to know the advantages and disadvantages of buying a condo, like insurance, HOA, etc. I should stop saying these people's first and last name, right? One, for anonymity, and two, other agents watch this, right? Take our clients. Try to take our clients. I want to know the advantages and disadvantages of buying a condo, like insurance, HOA, etc. Advantages are the obvious advantages. You don't have to take care of yard work. You don't have to take care of a roof. You don't have to take care of a driveway, sewer line, etc., etc. Common living. Now, some, libertarian America, right wing might say that's a socialist construct. I'm not participating in that. I don't want to share things with people, and that's fine too, because I understand both sides of that. I probably want like a piece of land all to myself and for people to leave me alone and have a condo if I had enough money. Now, insurance, HOA, today, in the middle of 2024, for the most part, those are disadvantages. There are a lot of condos. A majority of condos in Hawaii have problems with insurance. HOA costs are rising. It's a case-by-case basis, but a lot of the condo buildings, especially if steel frame and not concrete, it's really nuanced. We have to do a whole masterclass on it. But those are liabilities. And we got to talk about your hold time, your exit strategies, how long you're going to keep it. If you're only buying it for a couple of years and you're buying in this condo that the HOA is going to be increasing, I probably wouldn't buy it. Got one from Jim coming up about CPR developments, but first I want to get to the review. I actually don't have it on my phone, Kenj. But the first one was for Aiden, and it was from Seth. Shout outs to Seth. Seth, I got your message, and you said, condolences to Derek and his family, so I really appreciate that. I'm pretty sure it was you, Seth. But it said, Aiden's been great. I really liked working with Aiden. It's pretty simple. Do you have it to bring up on the screen? Oh, you don't have it either? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that was from Seth, and he's basically said, I like working with Aiden. Aiden's been great. It was a 3-liner. And then there's one for Aiden and Mahe. Sorry, a little tech. Usually we have Mahe here, and but she's in a meeting going over all of our active deals. No. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, AirDrop. The beauty of AirDrop. I'll get to, while that's going on, I'll get to the next question from Jim. All right, I did everyone for 10 minutes. All right, next question from Jim. Can you tell us more about CPR developments? So long story short, CPR, say this is an acre, and you want to cut it into 3 different thirds of an acre. You'll have lot A, lot B, lot C. And so now on the property tax record, it'll show that used to be 1 parcel, and now it's 3 that was subdivided. And so the last 4 digits of the tax map key, this like the social security number of the property, will be 0001, 0002, 0003. And so you have 3 different properties. Is there an advantage or disadvantage of CPRs? A lot of times they're cheaper because they've kind of just taken this piece of land and, maximized what you could do with it. Sometimes there could be complications, like if the paperwork wasn't drawn up well. There's a common driveway, but there's no plan. So the lender would need to, especially if you want to get it like VA approved or FHA approved, the lender's going to have to help come up with a document that covers common elements, which would be the driveway in this hypothetical. So,
I actually live in a CPR.
do you live in a CPR?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any comments about it?
No, it's perfect. It's a 7-unit complex.
Really?
Each of us have our own space, and I think it was the smartest thing that my family's done.
They CPR'd it, your family?
They CPR'd it. Wait, what is it? CPR'd? Right?
Condominium property regime. So it's
Yeah.
basically like taking a big chunk of land and cutting it into 2 or more smaller.
Yeah.
Sorry, hit the mic. My bad.
So if any of you guys know where Judd Street is, we actually bought a part of a nursery, an old nursery.
Plant, like a plant nursery.
A plant nursery.
Yeah.
And my family CPR'd it into 7 different homes.
Oh, wow.
So there's actually 4 townhomes.
Okay.
And then 3 single-family homes on it.
That is smart. So they probably bought, when did they buy the land?
I don't know when they bought.
Like many years ago?
I know that we moved in 2012.
Okay.
I don't know if they were holding it for a bit of time.
Well, it sounds like they probably got the land at a good deal. You don't hear of many successful land development situations in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, like, and think about it, like in Texas or Tennessee, to buy someone's old ranch that had 20 acres and then build some things on it, no biggie. But there's just not, especially on Oahu, there's not a lot of land left. And so most people talking about buying land, they never do. And so it's cool, especially to keep a local family here and at a price that probably buying 7 homes in Ewa Beach would have been different, or 7 homes in town would have been way different. Yeah, that's cool. All right. I'm going to get to Mahi and Aiden's review now, and that it's from Felix. Shout outs to Felix. Are we on the screen? All right. The 2 are doing a great job. Great communication, great updates. Our family really appreciate all the help we're getting from Core Team Hawaii, that is. CoreTeamHawaii.com, that is. So congratulations. Thank you. Shout outs to Mahi and Aiden. Bravo for doing a great job with our clients. And shout outs to Felix. Thank you. Thank you, Felix, for the review. I know I've spoken to Felix as well. And we've, on the back end, I've been a part of more conversations, as I typically am. All right. Another one from Jim. I like the video you had riding the rail, but wanted to know more about your take on what it means for neighborhoods likely to grow and appreciate. Well, because I lived in the California Bay Area, Jim, there's good and bad with rail, right? Principally, you can find some really good things with the rail. Less carbon emissions, more relaxation, because when you just sit on a rail and it takes you, local people aren't used to it, but rather than sit in H1 traffic, like if your job works out where you can just sit on that rail and it drops you off in Ewa, like put in a podcast, take a nap, it's big. It's a big deal. But if you've never lived in a big city, you don't appreciate that at all, and it just seems like unwelcome change. Less emissions, maybe you have to bike to the rail, more exercise. A lot of good things come with a lifestyle that involves rail. Also, the rail more easily, or subways and trains more easily allow riffraff, unwanted people, to get from one neighborhood to the other neighborhood. And Hawaii's no exception. And Hawaii has unwanted people that you might not want in your neighborhood, and that kind of stuff happens with rail as well. Not to mention, it's a bit of just an eyesore. Like, just being on that or driving underneath that thing, like, I'd rather it not exist, but it's there now, so might as well make it work and use it to its full capacity and function. What do you think about rail?
So when I went to college,
Yeah.
that's when a lot of the construction was done right here in Pearl City.
Yeah.
And I came back, and the first time I was on Cam Highway, and I looked up, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
Yeah.
So, I hope that the people of Hawaii get to put it to good use, because, a lot of people complain about it, but it's too late.
Now it's there. Yeah.
So you might as well use it.
Have you ever lived anywhere where you took like a train or subway?
No, but when you were talking about how, you can sit, on public transportation
And just check
kinda
out.
chill, check out.
Yeah.
'Cause I actually used to live in Royal Kania.
Oh yeah,
And
you catch bus to town?
No, just with my parents, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
on how
yeah.
just zoning out, because sometimes when you are driving in that traffic and you're like,
Yeah. Well,
when you're falling asleep.
yesterday I was pretty tired and I was having kind of a rough day. Imagine a realtor who actually admits they're having a rough day and was tired. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. I was thinking about, my dad passed recently, and it was the first day my kids went back to school. My wife was at work, so I was kind of alone. I was kind of like, oh yeah, there's a lot more here to process, and then I didn't sleep good the night before. I was kind of tired. But all that to say, we had a listing appointment in the evening, and to go to it, I was just gonna tell Aiden, man, you drive. But he had some work to do, so I ended up driving. But I wanted him to drive so I could check out. And that's what the rail offers. It could offer you every single day, right? It's just, and it's like nice views, cold, clean, clean for now. The rail's cool. I've ridden it.
Did they fix the bathroom issue?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were no bathrooms.
I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm going to do the last one from Jim, and then I'm going to switch to talking about PV and solar. For that matter, a series of sessions on things the city is doing, ADUs, couple A, others, banning seawalls, that will affect home values. Just a couple of things I'd be interested in hearing all your thoughts about. Okay, I appreciate it, Jim. Those are really technical things. I'll comment a little. There's an initiative to get, there's going to be this new thing where you can build vertically. I don't know the bill or the proposal number, but they're basically saying, like, if you already have this footprint, you can build another level, and they're going to try to expedite or, ADU construction and stuff to help with ease some of the housing crisis in Hawaii. It's not having enough housing, right? Seawalls, it's a tough thing because, like, if I have this beautiful home on the beach, I want to be able to defend it from the elements. Like, I bought that land. Also, no one owns land. No one owns anything in this life. You're a steward of it and can't take it with you when you die. And the natural erosion that needs to happen with, especially in a place as sensitive as Hawaii. I trust the people who know what they're talking about, who say you can't build seawalls to protect these houses because it'll screw up the ecosystem and the beaches and the sand. So hard conversation if you already own and you've owned for 20, 30 years and now you can't defend your house. That's it. I want to set that aside. What I'm more focused on is if you're buying right now, if you're buying and considering oceanside, flood zone living, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it before you make that decision. And one of the things that came up, Sandy, we may save Sandy's questions for the next one, but one of the questions that came up, which I didn't know, permitting for PV panels in a flood zone is harder. Mm-hmm. It might take you a year to get your system. Why is that? I guess because water and electricity don't mix, or like what's the...
I think that the permitting process is all going to be for safety reasons.
Yeah.
So, you mix in that erosion, that beachfront house, and electric equipment. I can see a lot going wrong there. So
I just wonder if it's necessary. But yeah, whether we like it or not, if our clients are going to buy in flood zones, AE, VE, and PV is a big priority for them, important for us to let them know it's not going to happen instantaneous. It's actually going to be planned on a year.
Timeline is the quickest is a year.
Yeah.
But on average is 12 to 16 months.
Okay. Well, let's talk about PV a bit. So here's what happened. Sam reached out and he's like, hey, have you ever considered doing PV? I am passionate about it. And I was like, as a matter of fact, I have been looking into it for my own property, looking into it for our clients. My concern was, does it cheapen Derek, the Core Team Hawaii, like YouTube guy that people see me in Costco, bro, I love your stuff. I learned so much. Like, they trust me. They have confidence in me. Mm-hmm. It's like me stepping, putting a foot on the solar side, is it take away from that? And over time, I was like, I don't think it does. I think it enhances it. But I want your comment. Like, leave us a comment. If I just get at least 1 or 2 or 3, hopefully 5 or more, like, leave me a comment. What do you think? Now I'm just presenting it as an option, as something we know about and I'm growing in. and made sure I have an expert with me, right? But I'm growing and learning in the PV world. Does it detract from the overall trust and the value, or does it only enhance and add? I think it enhances and adds, which is why I've decided to move forward with Sam and even do this today. But there's some problems in Hawaii. We're moving to like adjustable rate energy, where it's like more expensive at night to disincentivize you and to up revenue for Hiko, cheaper in the day. But like, I could wash my clothes during the day because I'm a real estate agent. I could do it in between the gym and my first appointment or something. But most people can't. So if they want to wash their clothes in the evening, shower in the evening, it's going to cost more in the future than if they did that in the middle of the day, right?
Right. So
that sucks. And so I'll just say for me, I have a tree hugger vein, and I also have like a libertarian, like FU government and power companies and water companies vein, and both of those don't like that. Both of my veins are, so both sides of me don't like that. There's nothing good about that for me.
It's supposed to be this year, actually. They did push it back. I think it's probably because of Lahaina.
Okay.
But they did push it back starting in maybe ending December, maybe early next quarter, first quarter of 2025. It's going to be 57 cents for your electricity after 5 p.m.
What is it now, like 36?
Right now it's 40.
It's 40 now.
Yeah, so it's going to go up to 56.
After what?
Between the hours of 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Brah.
Right when you get home.
And here's the thing. Say you rush home, I go shower at 4:30. Well, that water heater is bringing the water back up to temp in the time after your shower. Like, it was already heated. So that sucks.
Yep. And really,
Hawaii people are already like hanging on by a thread. So like, if you increase a power bill by 20%, let's say, from $500 to $600, there is some percentage of people that just now move just with that alone, like, because they're going to be tired of, trying to, we wake up and cook in the mornings and have it ready so we can microwave it at night because it's expensive to cook. Like, Hawaii is that expensive, and people trying to hang on here are probably going to be doing those kinds of things.
That's not even just residential.
Commercial too.
You've seen all those restaurants that's been closing down in the past couple of years.
I mean, I just attribute that to COVID.
Part of that is electricity rates too, right? Because they're cooking 24/7. Their lights are on 24/7. Imagine how much their bill is.
Yeah.
So, when...
So as consumers, we're going to experience it when we go to spend too.
And when HECO goes up, 6% residentially for a $200 bill, imagine how that is on like a $2,000 bill, $4,000 bill.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have to pass that on to us as a consumer.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get into my politics. My politics tend we'll leave pronouns and gender and social, like we'll leave a lot of it aside and say government and intervention. I tend to want them to stay out of it and just leave us alone. And anyway, so the autonomy, until we started, like I've had some clients and some friends look into PV. I was always like, I'm going to move out of my house eventually. I just never thought about it until recently, right? But more recently, the autonomy, the independence of having my own power, the disaster preparedness, it's just cheaper. It's like literally cheaper. So if someone's paying $500 a month right now in just the electric that's just their AC, their dishes, their laundry. If they get a system that brings them down to zero in Hawaii is like $25-ish a month because that's the minimum to HECO, right? You have to pay the hookup fee. But if you bring them down to $25 a month from $500, if they finance that system, it's going to cost like $300 something?
Yeah, if you either finance the system or chose to lease the system, typically you'll be right around $300. You get an instant, what is that, 40% discount? Yeah. On your bill. So I'm starting to try to find reasons why I wouldn't do it. No, there's too many reasons to do it,
and hard to find reason not to.
I think.
I mean, age of roof. There's some considerations.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like I went to the listing appointment last night and told him, here's all the ways to keep your house.
Mm-hmm.
I could make 40 grand on this. This big house, big expensive house. But I want to help these people. I'm like, let's try to keep it. I think you should try to keep it. We'll do the same. Like if Sam and I come and sit at your home, it may be just Sam. It depends. You call us. You want me to help you. But if you want to talk about PV and solar and we come and talk about it, we'll talk about all those things. Like, well, your roof is too old. So are you ready to do both? Can insurance pay for your roof? We're going to unpack everything and be nuanced about it. So I don't mean to oversimplify and overgeneralize, but it seems that there's a ton of upside, ton of positives. It's hard to find a reason not to.
Mm-hmm. I think PV is just a huge math equation.
Yeah.
Right. And what it comes down to, I think, is how long you plan on staying in that home. Right. Even if you do break even, right, that's added equity into your home rather than that money going towards Hawaiian Electric.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, as the agent real estate agent who's thinking about your exits, if you're going to pay $50,000 for a system, are you going to get $50,000 more when you go to sell it? Maybe, maybe not. Close though, like, and you got to also consider the tax credit you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So on that 50, your net isn't really 50. But yeah, depending. If you're going to sell it next year, then maybe that's a reason not to put the panels on at the time. There's a really complex like other solution where you can like own the solar even after you sell the house and they can pay you. That's a whole different thing. But those are all factors to consider. How long are you keeping the house? How old's your roof? Other than I'm about to sell my house and my roof is really old, what's another reason why someone wouldn't? I mean, you live in a neighborhood that is just Seattle, doesn't get sun or something.
Maybe
you have two houses encasing like two monster houses, and then your
Mm-hmm.
house sits down here and you don't get sun.
A home in the back of, Manoa Valley or Palolo.
Just rain
all the time.
Yeah.
If I had a house in Maunawili, I don't know if I would put solar on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The math might play out depending on how long you live there.
It's not as much of a slam dunk though.
Right. If you live Eva Beach, Kapolei, Waianae, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
How about Mililani?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even still yet.
Yeah. That's where I live, right? I live in a rainier side of Mililani. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I got food delivered for the team. I live in Mililani, but and so I might not get the usage or the power that someone in Eva is gonna get, but it's still gonna be worth it. What about like the way your roof is angled? So if you're like, you have this weird shaped roof where it's like flat, and then all of your angles at like the north, north face. Maybe that could be a reason not to.
They say south is the best, right? You get the most amount of sun. It's the most optimal. It's the most efficient.
Sure.
But it still works on the north. It's not like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? It's just less efficient. Might need a little bit more panels than if you had someone or a less amount on the south side.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder. We have a question in the chat for Sam. Oh, I don't have it pulled up. Can you pull it up? What are the current adjusted rates per time period? I'll bring it up. Sorry.
I can pull it.
We need Mahi here to go live with me. What are the current adjusted rates? What does that even mean? I'm still learning, right? You guys know I'm a masterful real estate guy. When you go into ancillary services, like, what kind of electric should I do? Like, we know some things, and I'm not an electrician. I know some things about solar, and check me in a month or two. I asked you, I know that you don't want to be, it's a hard position to put you in, but I was like, hey, given my acumen, my aptitude, how quickly do you think I can learn PV? And you were like, quicker than most, right? Mm-hmm. Check back with me. I will be close to Sam's level. Give me a couple months. But for now, what's the adjusted rate thing? Unpack that before you answer the question so everyone understands.
Right. So you're actually probably not in the time of use program. There's actually only 16,000 people that was randomly selected to be a part of the test pilot program. And unless you opted out of that program, you're probably not in it. So
What does that mean?
So there's that time of use program that you were talking about.
Oh, okay.
The variable rates. It's actually optional right now.
Oh, that's the adjustable rate. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah, they're going around knocking, trying to get people to sign up for
to
it.
sign up into it. Right.
So it's 50 what cents in the evening?
So on Oahu, right, it's different for every island.
Sure.
But Oahu, it's 52 cents.
Then what is it during the day?
It's 17 cents in the daytime.
17?
So it is pretty cheap.
So like
For
if you work
daytime.
a graveyard, if you're a great overnight shift nurse, that could be major for you because all your stuff's going to be used during the day.
This program is designed for retired people, for
Yeah.
people who stay home all day, go to bed by like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because, most of the people that I know that get home at 5 o'clock, that's when they're using all of their power.
The home's just sitting vacant most of the day, right? Even like Eva, right? Like you get like a new fancy thermostat that kind of keeps it at like 80 during the day. But when you're about to be home, it's like
Kicks it
crank
down.
it down to 70. Yeah.
But depending on the island that you're on, it goes all the way up to 78 cents in the
Okay.
evenings. And take into note, right now on Oahu, it's 41. So
Okay.
the rates are going to drastically change once they put this program into use.
I wonder where the person is at. Who asked the question, Kench?
That was Derek, but there's another one from Bluzzy Tricks.
Bluzzy Trick. Look, my live won't pull up. Yeah. It's weird. Bluzzy Tricks. Are we saying that right? You should install Blue's Eye Tricks. You should install batteries so that you can fill them up when the power is cheap and use them when the power is expensive. Oh, what about that, actually? If you have batteries, like Sam said, it's one big math equation. And I failed. I failed high school math a couple times, but it had nothing to do with my ability to do algebra. It was just I didn't care. I was like, how is this ever going to help me? In college, I was number one in accounting. He was like, I just want to let you know you finished top of the class. I was like,
For real?
what? It was business. It mattered. It mattered, And so these are the math equations I like. And what about, that's an interesting point. What if you just got a battery or two, which costs you about, with no PV, it still costs you like 8,000-9,000 per battery, right?
Right.
Can you have those batteries just get charged for 17 cents during the day? And then use them after 5 p.m., kick them on?
So ideally, you wouldn't be charged for them at all, right? Because your solar would be the one that's producing the energy for the battery.
With no PV, I think he's inferring. Like, what if you just don't get PV, but you get 17-cent electricity?
I don't think that's an option.
I wonder
Only
what the
having
math is
battery.
on that. Yeah.
Only having a battery without solar, I don't think it's an option.
You're not allowed, because you need to pull a permit for this, right? They'd approve the permit.
But that's the idea that we're trying to go after. That's the goal we're trying to reach, is pretending like we're off grid. The thing about
It takes
Hawaii,
away the autonomy, right? And the tree hugger. It takes away the ecological footprint, like the carbon output. You don't get those benefits.
that's
if
what
you
we're
just-
that's
yeah.
what we're trying to simulate.
Yeah.
We're trying to simulate like we're off the grid.
Yeah. Is it Amen Kamai? Is it best to sit this one out until the rates cut, maybe below 2 or 3%? Is Hawaii affordable during these rates? I don't understand the housing markets when the rates are this high. Please explain. Amen. Long story short, have you guys ever seen like the Instagram or YouTube short where the person's selling like eggs or watermelons or something, and then it's like $4, $5, and the person like looks. And long story short, everyone's buying the cheaper one, and the expensive guy is like, "I'll buy all yours at $4." Takes his whole inventory. And then he goes, $10, because I control all the inventory. The supply and demand is such that there's all the eggs left in the market. You have no more, so now they're $10. That's kind of the housing market. There aren't enough houses for the people that want to buy them. And And it's not just a Hawaii issue. I know that our hearts in Hawaii are very sensitive to local people staying here, etc. But this is an American and a world, let's just say American population issue in every market. Nashville, Austin, Oregon. There aren't enough houses in these major hubs where the jobs are for people to live. And so even though the rates are high, people are still buying the houses because they need to buy houses. Now, right now, I hear what you're saying. Like, we had 2 or 3% rates. I would forget that. Assume you're never going to see 2 or 3% in your adulthood again. But we did see like sub 5. We saw like 4.7 from like 2013 to 19. We saw 4.7 for a long time, plus or minus a little bit. And could we return to like a 4.5 to 5% market? I think that's plausible. I think that's probably what will happen. But if people are buying homes at 7%, do you think that more or less people are going to buy homes when the rates are 4.8? More people are going to be pre-approved. But there's not going to be that many more houses in Hawaii. Ho'opili, Castle and Cook, like they're building a few more. But on the grand scheme of things, the same amount of houses are going to exist here, but rates are going to be lower. So what do you think home prices are going to do then? The only thing I see dropping home prices in any significant way is a major national economic crash where China bombs Taiwan, we enter a war state, U.S. bonds, stocks go down, and the whole thing's routed up like 2008. That could devalue the housing market because then people would just not choose to buy because there would be really high fear socially. That fear could come from COVID more recently. Prior to that, it came from 2008. And the 2001 tech bubble, it came then. I'm not a macroeconomist with a deep history on all these things, but anytime prices go down, fear is really high. And I think the most imminent thing right now is probably some world conflict between China and Taiwan. And so, unfortunately, I would still buy right now. To answer your question, should you sit it out? My answer is no, because I don't see you timing the market. I always say this, but it's not oversimplifying. It's actually true. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market. So I would buy. In fact, I'm buying. I own a house. I'm trying to buy another one.
You just refinance it.
Yeah, so there's another oversimplification that I hate. And they say, marry the house, date the rate. But there's truth to that, too. It's just too simple. But, yeah, I would rather own, like, to your point, I'd rather own right now at $1 million at 6%. And then when it's 4.5, I can refi, lower my payment by hundreds. But I still bought at $1 million instead of buying at 1.2. I still buy. And that's whether you're buying with me, buying with someone else. I time in the market. I'm on the OFC. I'm in the OFC, Old Farts Club. Still exhausted from slaving most of my life. We get tired, chasing grandkids, etc. Isn't all that equipment junk after 10 years? I think you're referring to PV. So when you buy PV panels, are they junk after 10 years?
So the panels that we're using right now, on year 25, they're supposed to be rated at 86% efficiency. And if they're not, the company does replace them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the company that manufactured it?
That manufactured it.
Not the company that installed it, right?
Correct.
Okay. That's good because the company that manufactured it is very likely to be in business, right? It's big companies. Okay.
So yes, it is less efficient, of course. But no, it's not dead.
Yeah.
It's not producing at 30%, 50%. It's still at 86%.
And in the big math equation, we look at how much you saved over that time.
Oh yeah, you could buy the system 5 times and you'd still win.
Yeah. Thanks for the info. Clarification is key for me to understand the real estate atmosphere. I love your way of explaining things. Yes, thank you for the question. I'm hoping that people reach out to us after watching this and invite us over, or, maybe we start with a phone call, but invite us over to talk about their math equation. So the math equation is really show us your current power bill. let's look at your roof and let's see what it would cost to get the system on there and what it would save you. Occasionally I'll meet someone who's like doesn't use AC. Maybe they wear dirty clothes. I don't know. But I'll meet someone who's like, my bill's $120 a month. That's it. It's just $120. We just don't use much. Maybe they eat out. I don't know. But occasionally I meet someone like that. Should that person still get PV?
I think that's another question for how long they plan on staying in that home.
Yeah.
Right. And if they do plan on staying in that home for the rest of their life, it is going to make sense because you're just going to keep paying Hawaiian Electric.
The math would still work.
It would still work.
Yeah.
It just takes longer to break even for that person.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, if they're like, it's been $120 a month, no more than $180 for 5 years now. We have a pretty good track record, but we're going to be here for 20 years. One, it's still good to have that autonomy and that disaster preparedness, one. And two, in that time, HECO's bills don't trend down. Like, when's the last time government, how skilled is government at tax cuts? How skilled are power companies at, let's lower prices? Not too skilled at that, right?
Yeah. These utility companies, they're kind of like the stock market.
Yeah.
They go up and down, but if you zoom out,
They go up.
They go up.
Yeah.
So no one can really say what's going to happen for Hawaiian Electric prices in the future. But if I asked you, Derek, like, what do you think they're going to do?
Well, the thing is, the dollar is devalued over time, right? Every dollar you add to the system, quantitative easing, printing of money, it gets worth less. So you need more of them to buy things, including kilowatts of power. So as a percentage of value, so like if $100 used to represent 0.01% of all the wealth in the country, and that was my power bill, like my power bill now might still take 0.01% of the wealth in the country to pay, or whatever. But that 0.01% is now $10,000. It's more. Like, it's going to cost more dollars. But then if you finance, whether you buy now outright or you finance a system, it's a fixed cost. So, yeah, I mean, I think I gotta get some PV on my roof.
Yeah.
You gotta come by because there's part of our shingles is like missing some asphalt. And any roofer I've shown has said that, there was a tree there. 100% there was a tree there. But there were no trees there. And even when I asked my neighbors who have lived there forever, who know,
They said no tree.
they said there's never been a tree in your yard since inception.
Uh-huh.
But any roofer that looks at it is like, that's a tree. Like, there had to have been a tree there.
Is there like grains missing on your roof?
Yeah, it's just like, it's like this. It's like in certain areas, like most of it has asphalt, and there's like just a couple sections that have nothing, and there's no apparent reason why. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that just happens with time as well, with or without a tree.
But our roof is newer. Like, it's
really?
really newer. Yeah, like 5 years or something.
Who did your
Inside
roof?
of 10 years, I don't know. So we bought the house, it was like that, and the person had passed, so we didn't have receipts or anything. But yeah, that would be a consideration, and maybe replace a few shingles before I do it. But it's all at like the end. None of it's like in the heart of the roof. It's all like at the end of the roof, kind of. So, yeah, I don't know. Some questions? Okay. All right, we're gonna close this one up soon. So if you guys have questions about PV, one, you can always reach out. Go to coreteamhawaii.com. Just like if you were a real estate client, maybe you're one of our past real estate clients. You just reach out to us. Of course, for real estate, buying, selling real estate, reach out to our team. Bless you. We'll leave some questions here. We're gonna wrap up these questions, and then we have to go do some more real estate team stuff with some new changes to our world. So I have to designate some time for that with the team. Recent developments in the stock markets and Airbnb just took a huge tank down. How does Hawaii in particular react to emergency rate cuts in real estate? I heard the Fed may do an emergency cut. Yeah, so rates have already trended down recently in recent weeks. If there's an emergency rate cut, it's not Hawaii's response. It's the way I'd frame that question is, how is a world famous market where people from all over the world want to live, where there's a housing supply shortage, how would a market like that react if interest rates went down? It would react in a way where everyone wants to buy. And the problem is for every 0.5% rate cut, it creates a couple more sellers, right? But it creates this many more buyers. And why, like, how do rate cuts create sellers? Well, the person who wanted to downsize and move from the big home to the small home, or from the small home to the big home, or move to the mainland and whatever, they want to make moves. If they're locked into 2% here, they're like, I cannot make a move till it at least gets to 5%. Like, I know I'll never get 2% again, but I'm not going to sell this thing until at least I can reposition myself with a decent rate. So it creates some sellers, but it creates multiple more buyers. So the supply and demand still stays like this. So look, it's too many buyers sinking down the market for not too many sellers. You know, what is this thing called? Like the scale with the seesaw. What is it? I don't know. Seesaw scale thing. But thing is, we have all these buyers, not enough sellers. You can add a couple sellers because of low rates, but you're going to add way more buyers. And that's kind of the supply and demand economics of a really sought-after market like this and rate cuts. Walsh, I got to say it, Walsh, W-A-L-S-H, Walsh, my balls. How's home sale prices expected to grow Q4, early 25, with Fed rates likely decreasing the next few? Same thing. I mean, you have to interject a bunch of fear into the market somehow, and lower interest rates don't do that in and of themselves. Now, if the thing that caused the low interest rates, China bombed Taiwan, North Korea jumped in, NATO dissolved, like things that are more adulting and news than I am even, outside of my lane. If those things are a greater cause for fear than low interest rates are for confidence for white collar people or even blue collar people that have money. The only reason I frame it like that, because like they cut rates during COVID, but the professionals didn't really lose their jobs. It was like, people working at restaurants and stuff, and they weren't home buyers anyway. So now you artificially stimulated this market. It probably shouldn't have happened, but it did. And so if you do that again, the fear causing thing has to be greater than the confidence causing thing. And right now, if you cut rates, prices will just go up unless there's the other thing is really scary, Pros and cons, Derek. What's up, Derek? Pros and cons of buying versus leasing PV. We've talked once shortly about this. I generally only want to buy it. Mm-hmm. Because I can finance it, and that's similar to leasing, but there's some level of ownership. When I sell it, I can sell my house at a higher value. Mm-hmm. I can more easily sell it, because sometimes selling with a lease can be a pain. I tend to not want to lease, but I haven't done the big math equation, and I just don't have as much experience as you do with it.
9 times out of 10, people shouldn't be leasing the system.
Okay.
I think that
but
folks...
there are a couple companies that will get you to lease because maybe it's better for them financially. But, yeah.
Right, because they get paid more.
They get paid more,
so,
when you lease.
But folks that are retired, right, they don't pay too much income tax, so they're not able to recoup those tax incentives. Okay. And I think those are the folks that should be leasing the system.
And if they're like, I'm going to lease is 30 years, I'm 80.
25.
Lease is 25 years. Mm-hmm. I'm 80 years old. Like, I don't care afterwards. Like, I'm leaving my home to Bishop Estate, and they can sort that out. Leasing, same thing with leasehold properties. I don't generally recommend them. But if you're in that position, you're like, I'm 75, I can buy this leasehold condo for the next 30 years. I'm like, run it,
Most of the time when people are comparing prices between financing versus leasing, the financing is going to be a lot cheaper, right? Depends on which company and, the partners that they're using. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lot cheaper if you finance.
Yeah.
So.
or after elections, Amen says, or after elections would be the best time to eye out those rates. Again, timing the market versus time in the market. Like Warren Buffett says, market timers are there to make fortune tellers look good. There's been big studies. This is stock, not housing, so it moves a lot slower. Housing does, and you maybe better chance of timing it, Like think about something going like this, and you got to try and stop it on the thing. Well, that's the stock market. Granted, the housing market does move a little slower. However, you're still not going to do a great job of timing it because remember, for you to act in stock, you can act like that. You buy and sell 100 times today, the same stock. But a housing decision takes months. Unless you're all cash, you can get it done in like 2 weeks in Hawaii. But it takes months. So even though this thing's moving slower, like your dart is moving slower too. And to find the bottom of the market where there was the best price in the last 10 years and the best rates, you're probably not going to do it. I'm probably not going to do it. I don't even think in those terms. Like I don't try to time the market. I try and in my personal finances get myself into a position to buy. And every time I can buy, I will buy. Same with PV, right? Like one of the things to consider is, especially right now in August, is like this. If you want to get PV in Hawaii, in fact, here's the thing: if you want to get PV anywhere in the country, reach out to me. That's where I'm at now. If you want to get PV anywhere in the country, reach out. But and we'll have that PV big math discussion, right? And we'll find someone to help you. But if you I forget where I was going. If you want to buy, tax credits, like you got to get your system installed by the end of the year to get the tax credit for this year, correct?
And you need permission to operate from the electric company.
Oh, so not just installed, but there's like an approval afterwards?
After the system's installed, the utility company still needs to go out, inspect the install.
So you need the install to happen by like December 1st?
To be comfortable.
December 15th may or may not happen.
December 15th, you're kind of on the edge.
Yeah, especially with Christmas and who knows what day of the week January 1st lands on. So, and is the credit amount the same in 24 versus 25? Is it changing?
It's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same. Okay, so if you are okay with deferred gratitude and, delayed reward, then that's neither here nor there. But if you want it for this year, we should talk soon because it takes, if we went out to someone's house this afternoon and they said the math makes sense, thank you, let's get PV. In Hawaii, now in other states this could be different, but in Hawaii, the install team will be on their roof, assuming permit, there's 3 different permitting processes, assuming the quick one, the online one went through. Installers could be on the roof, 6 weeks would be the soonest? Like soonest, 8 weeks?
3 months.
3 months?
3 months.
I thought our guy said, I thought they could do sooner, no?
I wish.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's why we got Sam.
3 months.
Can you run PV and shut down Hawaiian Electric completely?
So.
No, you still have to pay the hookup fee, yeah?
You have to pay the hookup fee.
$25 a month.
But you can simulate that. So we're using 2 different battery technologies where it gives you access to deny any power that HECO's trying to feed into your house. So you can't fully get off the grid, no. Once you're on it, HECO makes it almost impossible.
Yeah.
But you do got to pay that connection fee.
But for my own knowledge, if a hurricane hits or power goes out or whatever, I still work autonomously. It's just their problem that they weren't hooked up, stealing my extra energy if I'm giving it to them, right?
You'll still be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you got the batteries.
As long as I got the battery. Which batteries are required now, right? So you have to get at least a battery now. And it's not that you have to at least get a battery. If your system's big enough, you want to get, it doesn't make sense not to get the second battery, right? But yeah, batteries are required now.
If you're running like a $400 bill, you should probably have 2 batteries. But if you're around like the $250, $300, ballpark of a Hawaiian Electric bill, you should be good with 1 battery.
Okay, so like 300 is kind of the threshold for 1 battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd rather be safe than sorry.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Any other little nugs people should know about PV?
I think that the longer you wait, is the more money you're giving to Hawaiian Electric. So, the sooner the better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. Thank you guys. Go to coreteamhawaii.com, go to the bottom of the page, fill out that contact form, whether it's selling a house, getting it all, maximum exposure and skill with our team and on this channel, selling a house, buying real estate in Hawaii. If you have some other obscure question that we can maybe help with, which is like, how do we refi, or can you, I don't know, something. We occasionally get random questions we can help with. And then if you have PV needs, you're thinking about getting solar, PV panels, reach out to us. Reach out to me. I'll shoot you a text and we'll talk about getting PV on your home. The reason why I am partnered with Sam on this is just like with Mahe and with the rest of our team, we aren't high pressure, sleazy salespeople. And we'll unpack it, do the big math equation nuanced, and make sure we take care of people, right? So hit us up. Sam, where you from? We gotta do a video on where you're from.
Nu'uanu.
Nu'uanu. I don't think we mentioned Nu'uanu. We'll do a Sunday video on where Sam's from at some point, and maybe he can show us like his spots.
I'll show you around.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant?
The first L&L is on Laliha?
Don't tell me your favorite restaurant is L&L.
It's not my favorite, but I'm telling you. Did you know that's the original?
I could see that. So there's like some nostalgia there.
Yeah. Go there at least once a week.
Yeah. What's your favorite though?
Favorite? Bro, I've been going to Jen way too much.
Jen. Yeah. It's a Korean barbecue spot.
Yeah.
At lunch, it's like way cheaper.
It's like $27.
It's like what like a Korean plate would be at Tasty's